Alliances turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Navi's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Navi's turn to pick.
And I hope nothing else breaks, because so far nothing has been working properly. But guys, hopefully that's not going to detract from this series. Welcome back to
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
But you know,
Reserve time.
since like an Alliance versus Navi used to be a great matchup when they, used to be the rosters that we all knew back then. But nowadays, we'll see if still should be a pretty good series. I'm Mike Loris, gonna be your caster for this game, and man, I'm just gonna freaking lose it, tilt out, and the rest of the cast is gonna be horrible. So you guys are gonna have to hope that technology is on my side today. But you know what? We have ourselves a draft. A quick look at the bans. Looks like it's fairly normal. Interesting to see Monkey King like banned out all the time in Euro, and then when you go into other regions, he's like let through all the time. Like in NA, they hate this hero. So it's regional differences, I suppose. But I think the world agrees. Terrorblade is definitely someone you got to be afraid of. Terrorblade, I think, I've been told by multiple sources, best carry in the game, and I don't think I've doubted any of those sources. I don't even know if I've ever held the opinion that he's not the best carry in the game, at least for right now. Do many things with this hero, and of course the Warlock for that additional bit of team fight. Added to the opening of Navi Alliance, Legion Commander, very early pick. You know what? Can't really fault them for that. They've Legion Commander definitely one of those primo powerful heroes, and Io definitely an Alliance hero through and through. So it's all normal there. The interesting thing comes in these bans that are kind of forced now from Navi because of that Io pick in the Slark, in the Tiny. We've seen a couple of teams mix in Bristleback. I think those are, along with the Sven, probably like the big
seconds remaining.
As real IO partners. But if you are going to find yourself in a lane alliance where you're going up against kind of a mediocre to weak safe lane, then you could definitely run the Legion Commander IO and just absolutely destroy it. Now up against a Terrorblade, Warlock, and now a Tusk, I'm pretty sure that's not quite going to be the scenario here if they do try to run that. The game plan usually with that lane is you get a lot of movement speed on Legion Commander, you run at the softest hero you can find, and then just right-click them down. And you can't really do that because Terrorblade will just turn around and fight you. Tusk is rather durable as well, so yeah, you might be able to get some right-clicks in, but with the Metamorphosis, with the poking from the Warlock, and the heal from the Warlock especially, I'm not really sure if that's going to be a feasible way for Alliance to at least aggressively play through that off lane. And okay, we have a new hero. Does this hero just get added to Dota? Does anyone know what this guy does? Skywrath Mage, the pick for Alliance, is definitely a decent matchup hero, at least in a vacuum, versus Terrorblade. Like the overall power level of Skywrath Mage notwithstanding, magic damage is definitely what you want up against that TB. Proactive silence up against that Warlock, the fact that he is able to just wander into a lane and kind of aggressively support it as opposed to the Io who defensively supports it. Very powerful with that Skywrath, and well, a little bit better now that there's a Clockwork On the other side, Clockwork, the pick for the Na'Vi side, is going to paint a secondary target for the Skywrath Mage. The primary target is, of course, that Legion Commander duel. Really, really classic combo right there. You just duel him and drop a flare on him. And, well, Terrorblade definitely not going to survive that. Tusk probably same thing. Clockwork may actually, but if he has a Blade Mail, ooh, you don't want to be doing that. That is a bad idea. Skywrath Mage, I'm not really sure if I like him defensively here at all. Like, he is paper thin, and Tusk, Clockwork on the other end. I think Skywrath Mage, they still have 0 base armor. It's definitely very low amounts of base armor, and Terrorblade does a lot of physical damage, I hear. So the Skywrath Mage is definitely a powerful hero if he's way, way, way in the back and is just not going to be touched by anyone. But not really sure if that's really in the cards. It's definitely difficult to maintain your positioning up against a Tusk and a Clockwork. We're both going to be looking to get on top of you in some way, shape, or form. Alliance, they have a hero that will try to resist that in the Ember Spirit. I do like this pick quite a bit. I mean, you look at the Na'Vi side, see the Clockwork, a little bit of crowd control effects. It is decent at chasing down Ember Spirit, I suppose, but it's not really what you want in order to pick him off. And the other stun, Tusk Punch, the Warlock Rock, it is definitely a little bit lacking as far as good crowd control versus the Ember Spirit from the Na'Vi side. Now, they're lacking their mid lane hero, and there are a couple of big mid lane heroes who still have stuns. Not the Shadow Fiend, he doesn't, and he's banned out anyway. Lina, the pick for Na'Vi, definitely would be a favorable one. I don't think I've seen Lina versus Ember Spirit and Io, but that's definitely, I would say, still Lina favored. Like, the extra juice that you give to the Ember Spirit is not irrelevant. But Lina can just put out so much extra damage that it may just not even matter. Also, you're looking at a potential puck for the Na'Vi side, get a little bit more of an early game twist onto the draft. With a Clockwork, you're usually not looking to go super late anyway. So it would be a fairly strong pick. I mean, Dendy Puck, right? So yeah, that's also a very comfortable hero for Na'Vi to run. I wouldn't mind that either. Phantom Assassin for the Alliance side. They were looking for their safe lane. Naga Siren banned out by the Na'Vi side, and PA. Definitely a hero to have up against Terrorblade. Physical damage, purely that Phantom Assassin. Running into a lot of armor is definitely somewhat of a risk. A lot of physical damage. Phantom Assassin, Legion Commander. Terrorblade will have a pretty good matchup there. But still, for Alliance, this is a hero that can take Terrorblade 1v1 because of that blur. Terrorblade really doesn't want to be building any sort of MKB, although he kind of might have to up against that Phantom Assassin if he's going to look to duel her. So yeah, you have the crits, you have the blur. Usually that's just going to put you a little bit of an advantage over that Terrorblade. I don't think Phantom Assassin's going to really change the mid lane for Dendy all that much, at least from the heroes I mentioned. Still have a good matchup versus the Ember Spirit. Phantom Assassin, not really going to put damper into any of those other heroes. Oh, this is going to open up a couple of options here for the Alliance side. I mentioned Io, Legion Commander. Ooh, Storm Spirit. That's interesting. I mentioned Io, Legion Commander. Io, Phantom Assassin works in a very similar fashion. You just, tether up your buddy and then just start going. So Alliance definitely have the ability to make this Io a very aggressive hero, but I'm not really sure if that's going to be necessarily in those correct lanes, simply because Na'Vi have heroes that have just good answers to it. Like, you can try to run at and kill off a Clockwork with a lot of movement speed, but cogs, battery assault. You can try up against a Tusk, but he has the shards. He'll have Warlock and Terrorblade damage behind him. It's gonna be a little bit rough. Now, the Storm Spear pickup for Na'Vi is gonna give them a lot of initiation, which is gonna mean that they are gonna try to play at least as much as the game. Oh my God, is everything working properly now? Lucky me. But I'm not really sure if I can call it a problem of the Storm Spirit or just like a side effect of the Storm Spirit, is that though he does have a decent matchup versus the Ember, he is still up against, well, I would assume a little bit of a Skywrath Mage poking in towards that mid lane. That spam is definitely not something that Storm Spirit really wants to put up with, and if Io is going to show himself up in that mid lane as well, which is definitely possible, then Storm Spirit's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Alliance do have a couple of good spells in order to deal with that Storm Spirit. This Skywrath Mage, though he is, again, defensively in an absolutely abysmal position, offensively up against Storm Spirit. It does not get better than this. Point click, you're silenced for a very, very long time. So Ancient Seal to be an absolute all-star if Hanskin can actually survive. So, you know, good luck to him. Right now, gonna load out into our lanes. Na'Vi, give that clockwork over to the General. Sneeko is on that Tusk. Over towards mid lane, it's obviously Dendi on that Storm Spirit. Biver is on the Warlock, and that leaves Pycat on the bottom lane, Terrorblade. Over on the Alliance side, Ember Spirit, played by Limp, is going to be going mid. Got Jonas Fan, the Legion Commander, in that off lane. Loda, the Phantom Assassin. EGM, the IO and Hanskin, as I've already mentioned, be playing that Skywrath Mage. And it looks like I'm not really sure if you want to be doing that as an IO and a Skywrath Mage trying to steal a rune. Because when you're fighting over runes, a lot of right clicks traded. Again, 0 armor, 0 armor. Well, I guess Phantom Assassin is 4. And he's going to start things off by working down EGM General off to the side and start poking into Loda as well. Dendy's going to take a lot of damage from those bolts of Hanskin. But it will be a 2-for-2 exchange. Oh, shards! Perfect from Sneeko! Trapping Hanskin in the tower! That's first blood! What an absolute baller! Holy crap. Now, we've been seeing a lot more Tusk nowadays. I think it's partially because Earth Spirit nerfs kind of catching up to him and teams kind of shying away from it, but they still kind of want that effect, and it's not going to be Monkey King, it's not going to be Treant Protector, it's going to be the Tusk. And man, oh man, it literally does not get better than that. Let me tell you, I've seen some Tusk shards in my day, guys, but that I have never seen before, and he's actually going to show up again. EGM at least has a tether. So shards aren't going to be fantastic at actually controlling the IO. Seems like we may have some lag, or maybe not. But still, EGM up against these heroes, he does have to be careful. Again, IO taking hits, never really what you want. And if they force out a tether and still have shards afterwards, still can be a lot of damage. He'll get out of there, he'll be just fine. Take a quick sweep of the other lanes, first of all. Dendi versus Limp, definitely a lane where either of these two heroes can die simply because they both have very low range. Even if there's no rotation, we can see already Dendi putting the screws to Limp. He's just looking for that race to level 6, and if he's going to get a kill, fine. If not, not really a terribly huge deal for him. This is a lane, actually, where Jonas Fan can get quite a bit done until the Metamorphosis is actually popped. He'll take a little bit of chip damage here, but Terrorblade in his melee form with the poke-in from the Warlock is something the Legion Commander can absolutely deal with as long as he has a little bit of regeneration. If you see, he's prepped up with fairly standard amount, and he is pretty much ready to go. And of course has the shrines, which the Ember Spirit is most likely going to be more than happy to crack into a little bit earlier on as well. Still, it's not going to be a lane where Pycat's really worried about anything. He is getting a lot of right clicks though. A couple of lucky procs from Jonas Fan, but this is the entire point of this lane, really. You get Pycat with that heal, and with all of his insane right click durability, you're never really going to die here as Pycat. So, you know, expect the bottom lane to be a little bit of a quieter lane. Of course, that means we got to keep our eye on Sneeko. Gonna try to give General as much of an edge as he can up towards his top lane, but of course, the Blink Strike in, and the spam from the Skywrath Mage puts in quite a bit of damage. These things hurt like hell, man. Even at level 1,
got it.
You're in range of the Skywrath Mage, you're going to be taking an absolute beating. Damage being traded, the end result still is going to be lanes that are mostly a wash. Except for that first blood, of course, but you know, Loda's still CSing pretty happily, despite being up against a little bit more of an annoying hero in that Clockwork. These cogs serving to separate the creeps usually keeps those melee heroes out of the lane. But of course, Phantom Assassin with the dagger, as long as she has enough mana to use it, is able to function normally as well. Jonas Fan taking a lot of damage over in the bottom area. Right clicks, gonna be pretty high. I don't think it's enough. Just barely gonna get himself out of there, and he'll shrine up in the base. Oh, Dendi getting into a fight with Limp in the meantime. EGM with the balls, trying to go for Dendi, but Sneeko has arrived. Right click on EGM. Shards through, looking for Limp as well. They don't quite catch up to him, but Sneeko with his rotation will be a little bit better than IO on his. That's, I mean, it's a Tusk. What do you really expect, right? Level 4 Storm Spirit after surviving that gank. And the door for an Ember and an IO to kill off a Storm Spirit is fairly rapidly closing. EGM's going to do what he can here, but as long as Sneeko is, again, at all in this mid lane, there's no real hope for the IO. Of course, this is going to weaken the top lane quite a bit. Clockwork still going to go up there, still going to do what he can to mess with Loda. As far as kill power is concerned versus the PA, absolutely need that Tusk there if that's going to happen. Going towards the bottom lane, though. The opportunity to wall off Jonas Fan with shards is perfect, it looks like. They'll lose Dendy in the meantime, though, and there are still not many heroes here to right-click down Jonas Fan. Shadow Word has already been used for most of its duration, and it looks like he'll get back up to the high ground. There's no shrine, but he still will survive. Storm Spirit level 4, no backup. Got Dove, but speaking of people dying, Hanskin will run into General, and Battery Assault is definitely an ability. Level 2, right clicks, of course, with no base armor on that poor Skywrath Mage. And General, with a good read, is definitely going to get a free one. And half good read, half just seeing the Skywrath Mage, perhaps, that Observer Ward. Kills being traded. Ultimately, CS is still looking rather even, all things considered. Although Snowball in towards Limp. Shards are there as well. The chains are going to be perfect onto 2. Now as the IO comes in with the Skywrath Mage, they'll try to get some sort of return play. But Suniko's well and clear, as is Dendy. Nothing going to be happening there. They're going to leave Loda up towards top, though we can see General already springing into action. Battery Assault is a real ability. Loda can try to hug the neutrals, try to mitigate a little bit of that damage, and for the most part, it'll be kind of a waste of General's time to even try to go for that. No mana on the Phantom Assassin. The Cogs starting to hit that critical mass of mana burn. 25 mana is not that much, but it seems like a lot when you have 0. Some fan bottom lane, right clicks, not quite enough again. Legion Commander has been playing things a little bit fast and loose on in this game in general, but still surviving is all that counts. DS wise, tied up, and oh, chains onto Dendy. Snowball's gonna slow down Limp a little bit, but Hanskin's bolts do so much damage, and they're still gonna work with that Flame Guard to roast down Suniko. Not quite enough damage to get the kill there, but Dendy, he has the backup, is right, but not as right as Limp thinking that he has his. And roaming Skywrath Mage. What year is it? Please somebody tell me. Roaming Skywrath Mage up against roaming Tusk? We're gonna jump into a time machine for a little bit here. General is gonna wander into Limp, who does have a little bit of mana now with the stick charges, so he's not in any danger whatsoever. General's taking a lot of damage. Here's the jump forward is committed, though the Snowball will buy them a couple seconds worth of time. Shards to block off Limp's escape. General put up Cogs. That'll trap EGM. I don't think he has enough. No, he does. He's just gonna right-click Suniko, looking for a clutch escape, but dies anyway. Although jump back in from Limp is gonna get them a return kill. 2 for 1 so far. PA now showing her face. Dendy with the ball is gonna get himself out of there. Hanskin taking tower shots. Gotta watch out there, bro. And General with the flare, not quite enough. General does not have his level 6, and Pycat also, of all heroes, is going to show up without Metamorphosis. On the list of things that are scary, Metamorphosis is definitely on top, but Terrorblade without Metamorphosis, with only 1 reflection, is not really all that much of a threat. Kind of a odd move there from Na'Vi. Someone was making the call, hey, everyone, get your asses over in mid lane. Shit's about to go off. Pycat was, I guess, following orders. Good player, but there's a lot of time off the lane for a Terrorblade and a lot of time in lane for a Legion Commander. See that CS gap starting to shrink a little bit as Jonas defends just a couple of minutes. Just 1 wave, 1.5 waves. No Terrorblade because he didn't even teleport over in mid. He walked mid. And then he didn't even teleport back. He had to walk back as well. So this Terrorblade just wasted a hell of a lot of time to do literally nothing. A little bit of a rough exchange there, though. They're looking for Jonas and fans. Shards will catch slightly. There's a reflection. There's the Metamorph as well. But with Limp teleporting in, not much they can do about it. Doesn't really have a lot of spirits to jump to. Looks like Emerald Spirit's TP, his rotation, kind of forced with a little bit of a poke play there from Na'Vi. Still, as long as Pycat's in this lane, as long as he's farming, they don't really need to bank this lane on any sort of kill action. If they get it, fine. If not, whatever. V receiving a little bit of love over in the mid lane. Same exact thing, pretty much. Oh, Jonas and Fan, he's gonna drop! And the hookshot would have canceled the TP anyway, I think would have been in time. Finally, they get the kill on Legion Commander. Dendy Gonna get triple jumped by Limp. I think he dodged that last one. It definitely seemed like he didn't take all the damage there. And with a haste rune, you know, Storm Spirit's pretty fast. At his first hook shot from General used. Can't really blame him for missing that one, but still, the cooldown on hook shots, it doesn't really feel like a black hole or anything like that. When you're playing Clockwork, it feels so long, that level 1 hook shot cooldown. It's like, God, when can I just go and kill someone again? And you could tell that he is itching to do so. The build that he's been allowed to go for, maxing out the battery assault, gives him the most kill power possible. Got that Scarif Mage, the IO, to some extent the Legion Commander as well. Phantom Assassin is a tough sell. You have to force out her blink with someone else. Have Dendy jump on the Phantom Assassin, then have her blink out, or have the shards force her into a position where she needs to leave through blink, and then you hookshot her. A little bit tougher, but still possible. Ember Spirit just impossible, so that's never gonna happen. Cat still be farming. Jonas and Fan looking at that level 6 pretty soon. Fortunately, Scarif Mage is a little bit behind that, as you would expect, really, but they're gonna make that pretty classic rotation nowadays. Get the mid laner or the safe laner, whoever's probably more capable of jungling, into the jungle or on the roam, or, you know, in this case jungle. Get the supports over in that lane. So far we haven't seen that move from Na'Vi. It is most frequently done on Warlock, I would say, simply because he has the most to gain from being level 6. But in this context, the Scarif Mage has a lot to gain as well, so we don't see Scarif Mage all that often, but it still works. General, that fresh hook shot, link some people up. Meantime, just buying a little bit of cover for PyCat to go to work. Tower damage on Terrorblade? What tower damage? He's going to destroy that one in the blink of an eye while tanking tower shots all the while. And Limp, he's smoked up. Is anyone else smoked up? Did they all just not smoke? Hookshot in is off the mark from General. Still flares, sees 2, realizes he probably shouldn't be here. Gets leashed down, but with the cogs, they'll respect the Clockwork's defensive power and back off, but the jump is there. Snowball will catch Limp, shards the block as well. He does still have a lot of juice, plus with the Shrine. Na'Vi have overcommitted here. Walrus Punch onto Limp. They'll try to focus him down, but a huge overwhelming odds from Handskin is going to destroy Saniko. And now the taunt in onto the Terrorblade. The cogs go up, protecting the Terrorblade by quite a bit, and he's going to go down, but it will not be a dual win. Still for Na'Vi, they've run out of gas. The Clockwork is going to be leashed down. He's going to try to make it out, but the overwhelming odds again will crush the health pool of that poor Tin Man. An Alliance, off of just a couple of level 3 overwhelming odds casts, are pretty much just going to destroy Na'Vi. And I mean, that's just the difference of not having that Warlock level 6 and a couple of more experience levels. That could have been very different. Trying to go in for an Ember Spirit and then into the enemy Shrine. Granted, they didn't really fight in the Shrine, but you don't really want to be touching this at all. And you don't really want to be trying to overcommit towards an Ember Spirit either. They don't really have enough control to effectively lock down an Ember Spirit, and they really won't have enough control until, I would say, Dendy picks up an Orchid. It's going to be a long time before they can realistically kill Limp, focusing him first thing, especially with an IO who you know is behind you, especially after you've missed the hook shot. Just a very greedy, aggressive play there from Na'Vi, trying to leverage the shards, and you know what, again, I do love me some Tusk plays, but there's a time and place to capitalize off of shards, and that is definitely not it. They will give Biver a little bit of time over in the bottom lane, have the PyCat Terrorblade rotate out. Pretty standard Terrorblade moves. Take your own tower, or even don't take your own tower. As soon as you have Metamorphosis up again, just go in towards the other lane. Saniko, though, we're in mid, is in a little bit of a pickle. Silence now, and with the flare, oh my god, he's super dead. So dead that Jonas and Fan couldn't even arrive in time for the duel. That's Skywrath Mage for you guys. Now, Skywrath Mage, I suppose, gets a lot stronger with the addition of Shrines. Just the fragility of this hero makes him a little bit prohibitive as far as making him a mainstay pick. IO to some extent as well. Wow, that's sick dagger dodge from Dendy. All planned, obviously. By the way, over in mid lane, Limp taking a tower. Saniko gonna drop a Walrus Punch on him, but again, you're never gonna kill that Ember Spirit. Does secure the tower, as does PyCat up towards top lane, so fair is fair. Notice some fans sitting on an observer ward, has a lot of backup behind him. Dendy knows and sees everything. Does he actually want to fight this? He's going to jump in towards Legion Commander, but now the Io going to jump in as well. Reflection does go up, as will the Metamorphosis. Here comes the Snowball and the Tusk. That'll be two dropping instantly in general. He found himself his target finally. It's Hanskin in the cogs and down. Limp off to the side, Loda off to the other side. Nothing they could really do about that. Loda really doesn't want to be in these fights if he can help it. He wants to be in those 2v1s, those 3v1s, or the 1v1s up against Biver. Rolling lucky, Loda is not. Loda hero switcheroo there. A lot of fast damage going in towards that Legion Commander. Power treads, not even a poor man's shield, and PyCat at this point working out with the maxed out Metamorphosis.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Gotta respect that if you're Alliance. Your combo of the Skyrat doesn't land. Well, they're gonna try to go for PyCat, but a quick snowball from Sonico is gonna get him a little bit of extra time to get that Sunder off. He is gonna run out of his Metamorph though. Limp is low on mana. Can they kill off PyCat? By the way, people are dying elsewhere. General seems like he maybe even trade for an Io in a 2v2 that happened over in bottom lane. Classic Mike chooses the wrong fight to watch because it looks like stuff is gonna happen, and then it just doesn't. Feels bad, man. But hey, I mean, it's only an IO kill for the Navi side. Alliance can be pretty happy with that exchange. He got the kill. It was EGM, and EGM got the kill, then died. A little bit of extra gas for Dendi, building in towards that Bloodstone. He's gonna be certainly happy about that, but you know, IO getting levels is definitely a threat as well. He already has the maxed out balls. Overcharge on the just defensively period is gonna be pretty sick up against Navi. But of course, if you drop that on your Phantom Assassin, your Legion Commander, they're gonna be tearing people apart. If Limp knows where Navi are off of that flare, it's sometimes really easy to read where the flare comes from if you're if your screen's in the right spot. If you're not looking there though, you just get hit. You don't know. General wandering in. He's gonna find a hero that cannot defend herself. Although the Mud Golems are gonna defend her for her. The chase after that Legion Commander. Still, they're gonna wander off to the lane. They'll see a couple of eyeballs, and oh no, not this again! I remember this. He's gonna get pushed out of the cogs, but gets punched in the air. And Hanskin gonna fall. Dendi looking for a little bit more. You know that there should be a couple heroes perhaps in the area. They'll see Loda, confirm him, but know that EGM's the one that they have to take care of, because the relocate's the only way they get out of this safely. EGM is going to tether away. Loda's going to get a rock dropped on his skull. He's going to jump in towards Biver to try to get himself out of there, but there's a snowball, there's lightning balls, there's all sorts of balls here on Navi. They will kill off everybody who decided to stick up on this top lane. PyCat, does he have Metamorphosis? You bet he does. And it's time to roll forward. Tier 2 is not long for this world. Dragonlance, level 4 Metamorphosis, level 4 Illusion Conjure, and a Golem there as well, just to clear out the creep wave. And the fact that Alliance really don't want to be in these team fights. They really do want to divide and conquer. They will be forced into action though, knowing that there is no hookshot, there is no chaotic offering obviously. We'll move in. Snowball is going to disperse smoke on everyone and stun 3 heroes on the incoming. Sonico already with a huge opening. We'll get flared for his troubles, but that will probably get the Joseph fan. No, it'll be Limp doing a lot of damage over towards that terribly, but Dendi's going to jump in with General, get an instant double, and now looking for a third. Is he going to chase down Hanskin off to the south? It's going to be Biver trying to handle Limp. Not going to happen. General and Dendi now converging onto this Ember Spear, who doesn't have any remnants left. He get jumped in by his Storm friend or ally or what? No, it's an enemy for sure. Limp on the run. Hog's not really working out all that well for General. And Limp has another Spirit soon. Dendi doesn't have that much mana. Betrayal most foul. Limp should be fine here. He has backup, so he's just trying to bait. But if he baits a little bit too well, then Dendi and General might see Hanskin, and then that's just an easier kill. Oh, Sonico actually saw him first. Jump in with the Walrus Punch. We've seen that before. Sonico will give his life for it. When you're a Tusk, man, you gotta go for those Walrus Punch kills. At least stay consistent to your lore, because you always want to fight, right? That's like Tusk's deal. He likes fighting. Super deep lore, Valve. Like, oh, what do we say about this guy? I don't know. He likes to fight, I guess. Brilliant, Johnson. Put it in the game. The Alliance able to isolate PyCat. Dealt with him very quickly. Didn't quite see what happened, but Sunder definitely did not happen there.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Limp's magic damage. I assume that's why he was running around with no remnants to jump to. Committed them towards Pycat. Well worth it for sure. I mean, he has the Veil. He obviously has the spell damage talent. So Ember Spirit's burst damage versus the Terrorblade is substantial. TB, although he does have that lance, really the only thing that he's working with survivability-wise. Survivability from his allies, a little bit slow unless Sneeko is just absolutely insane on his timings. That snowball, the Shadow Word doesn't really do all that much. It's level 2, first of all, and heal over time. Not gonna be what you want up against an Ember Spirit with that much burst. General, though, does have Blade Mail, so Hanskin's game just got a little bit rougher. They will smoke up and see Loda. There's a Shrine here, and the Cogs are going to do very little, but the Snowball is still good with the Battery Assault. Not quite there. They'll drop a rock on the high ground and see another target even. Although Concussive is going to be launched. Dendy's still going to jump in really far into a dual flare. Gets baited by promises of kills. We'll get it, but they'll actually find Pycat in the back firing. Jump out from Limp. As General's going to secure the kill onto EGM. Snowball again. Sneeko is unstoppable. Shards perfect again. That does not look like a tight wall, but it is apparently. Limp is stuck in a corner and will go down. General chasing after Hanskin will not catch up to him, unfortunately, for the clockwork. But it's going to cost them mostly just the Storm Spirit and his Bloodstone charges. He's back up again, so he's ready to kick into full gear. Hanskin actually, a little bit close there, but he's going to survive. Pycash is going to let loose on this tower. 9,600 net worth on this Terrorblade. Obviously, the faster he, the more farm he gets, the better. But as Alliance will struggle to end up killing Terrorblade once these stat items come up, then Na'Vi will get into a position where they can just force objectives and even will be able to fight at relative parity should the Clockwork not have his hookshot or should the Warlock not have his ultimate, just because of how strong they can, use their Terrorblade. How strong the Terrorblade is and how much they can use him. And of course that Manta style, all-star up against those chains, get rid of the slow from the Phantom Assassin, but the big deal being able to get rid of this this Ancient Seal from the Skywrath Mage. Get rid of that and you probably guarantee yourself a Sunder, unless you're dueled. EGM is almost dead, now dead, and then you get chained down. He has a little bit of mana, but gets crushed by the Goomba Stomp of the Ember Spirit. Blink Dagger, Remnants, Dendy. Again, baited by the promise of kills. That is the route change in effect right there. No Alliance hanging around. They do have Vlad and Deso on the Phantom Assassin. Alliance ever find good 30-40 seconds of downtime, they will be able to jump into Roche and tear him a new one awfully quickly. Against Storm Spirit up against Clockwork Flare, not an easy thing to do. They have to win a team fight beforehand. And winning a team fight beforehand will of course require no one to get picked off by this aggressive move from Na'Vi. They're going to teleport everyone and their mom up towards that Roshan Shrine. Pycat's just going to start shoving it in. Alliance right now, they'll want to be looking for those pickoffs. You can see it's pretty darn difficult when they have, well, actually literally no observer wards in the map. One sentry is going to do very little. Whenever you have an IO on your team, you always really do need a lot of observer ward coverage. I mean, that's what makes Relocate strong offensively, just being able to find those guys out in the middle of nowhere. I like this one, just being able to, you can kind of read when the enemies are either going to go, from this area into either south into lane or these neutral camps, if the lane is pushing in towards bottom. That will give them, in theory, a lot of opportunities, but Na'Vi just aren't there, so that observer ward isn't really going to do all that much. Na'Vi have no bigger plans. No Vlad's no problem. Dendy now with a double life, and is going to start building up towards that Orchid, so a nice answer to have versus that Ember. Nowadays, Ember Spirits don't really get items that protect up against Orchid. Still can, of course. KB, Lotus. I think Yule's is really an Ember Spirit item. Maybe if there are more point-click silences other than just that Orchid. Land that on the Ember Spirits. You can kill him, but you know at least his damage is going to be significantly decreased. Alliance looking for someone kind of greedy to show up over in bottom. Pycat is here with a little bit of backup. That's actually a lot of backup. Sonico being in the area with Snowball, usually not going to help Pycat quite enough, but with Blink Snowball, it gets a lot stronger. Like, oh, my friendly Terrorblade got Blink dueled, well, I'll just Blink Snowball and waste the leading commander's time. It's really all Tusk needs, and he will further mess with this Legion commander with that Yule Scepter. Of course, does get rid of that point-click silence from the Scarith Mage as well. A little bit of a defensive itemization here from Sonico. He played absolutely out of his mind this game. Now he just has to really just stay hidden, stay in Blink Dagger range of Pycat, but hidden from anyone else from Alliance so he doesn't get relocated upon or anything like that. Jumped by an Ember Spirit. That's all he has to do. This is Tusk's life now. He's just a snowball guy. The guy you call if you want a snowball. Alliance, they are not comfortable fighting Na'Vi. In a full 5-on-5 with Aegis on the Storm Spirit with the Chaotic Offering available on Biver. No Observer Wards mean that there's no real opportunity to separate Na'Vi and take out one person in the back. If they did have vision, this would be kind of where they would want to go. This hero is really lagging in the back there. Of course, that's not going to work out for right now. Pycat taking a little bit of a beating from this magic spam. Daggers and bolts. Chains, oh my. But they're just waiting for someone on Alliance to get a little bit stupid here. Look for that jump in. Get a clean angle on the Clockwork, clean angle on the Storm Spirit. As Na'Vi, you can pretty reliably count on one hero pretty much immediately to die at that stage.
Radiant's top tower
It's like they'll back off. Metamorphosis drying up after all. No Metamorphosis, no fight. Alliance know this. Terrorblade still farmed, but unable to actually stay close to his targets. Seeing as though he's not ranged any longer. It's time for Alliance to look for those plays, and they did see Pycat with that, with all these Observer Wards actually placed in Na'Vi's jungle. So they know pretty much completely, what's the button? There it is. What Pycat's up to. They see Biver as well. And they see Storm Spirit up towards top. A little bit surprised Alliance aren't a little bit more aggressively looking for a play. Pick off Terrorblade right now, you pretty much guarantee yourself a tier 2 tower. Or you know that if Na'Vi decide to fight, they'll be without their biggest right clicker. They'll slowly get into position. Jonathan Fan gonna show himself off to an illusion. That's awkward.
Begin.
20 seconds left until the Terrorblade is ready to go back in again. Lincoln Sphere prepped up now. The Alliance do have a lot of kind of trash spells to throw into that Lincoln's. Gareth Mage will just happily throw an Arcane Bolt to land an Ancient Seal, just to try to force out that Manta style. Really does want to protect himself up against Duel, and this is the greatest opportunity Alliance have. No one is near Pycat. Pycat will push out that one wave, then fall back. The rest of his allies getting into position. Alliance, they should not have seen this smoke, and EGM is not the one who wants to run into this, though he does have a Glimmer Cape. General is going to jump in towards EGM. There's no true sight here. The Remnant didn't pop, and he's going to be spotted by the Remnant. No, just out of range, apparently. General looking deep in the trees for someone, not going to find anyone there either. Na'Vi almost find a couple of kills, but find nothing. Now we can see that's the response, right? Oops, the enemy has invis now. It's time to get some detection. No harm, no foul. This build from this Warlock, though. If we're going maxed out in the upheaval, working against that Phantom Assassin and the Legion Commander, BKBs will be picked up on both soon, already up on the PA. So, upheaval, Warlock is really just going to try to stay in the back as much as he can. Na'Vi, they just lose their Aegis? They did. So going in for this is a little bit bold. You have General pushing out mid with those flares. But Alliance, as long as they're in their base, the dive in without the Aegis is pretty darn suicidal.
And it's off.
It's only better for Na'Vi to back off at this stage. They're all getting something here. Pycat's farming the wave, obviously. General, I'm assuming, is getting a little bit of CS here and there from mid. Alliance weren't getting anything on anyone, really. They were all just jammed up in their base. The Ember Spirit with the travels is now going to start kicking into gear and farming, and that's not something that Na'Vi are really happy with. They can't sit there and just let Ember Spirit farm without getting anything accomplished on their own, so they have to make some sort of decision here. Will be to back off. They really don't really have to go for anything until the next Roshan, as long as they're looking for these pickoffs. Put some Observer Wards up. Find a Skywrath Mage. And Skywrath is going to get jump silence immediately down half HP. Dendi is going to almost get jeweled by Jonas Fan, but it's slightly off the mark. They do still land a big flare onto Dendi. And with Loda arrival, with EGM, they will get the kill, and they're going to continue the fight now as the rock drops on 2 heroes in cogs, both stuck. Lotus BKB is going to hold, is going to jump in. Where's the Terrorblade? He's right in the middle now, but it's a little bit too late. A lot of his allies have gone down. He's going to chase after Hanskin, jumped in, duel though, and crushed by the Ember. And now it's Biver trying to TP out of there. The damage is not enough. Warlock will survive, but Na'Vi making a little bit of a bold play there. Dendi jumping in really, really far and essentially suiciding himself for half of the Skywrath Mage. It's a very frequently seen problem with the likes of Clockwork and Storm Spirit. Their initiation range is so huge, which is great for them. Not really that great for their allies. They just can't follow in time. Pycat was very, very late to that fight. And even though the cogs and the chaotic offering were 100% on point, just lacked the damage output at that stage because everyone was dead, Dendi, or just trickling in like Pycat. Lions find himself a big one. Oh, Hanskin. Full of balls, spotted by General. He will not like what he sees though. 3 heroes here. He'll put up some cogs. And the Blade Mail in case as well, and he'll jump in towards the neutrals with the flare. Almost gonna do it. Dagger, is that lethal damage? No, not with the snowball. But General's still pretty screwed here. There's even more heroes come in. Now the duel onto Sneeko. Okay, well that was a cute snowball. Not quite what they needed though. River not hit with the chains, but hit with the dagger. And Jonas Fan still on the hunt. Oh Jesus, that's a crit. There was a hero here. I'm not really sure. Just a bloody splotch on the floor now. Alliance are finding Na'Vi separated. That right there is what they were looking for the entire game. Now one hero off in the middle of nowhere. Pick him off. See another one just coincidentally pick him off as well. And Na'Vi just end up chain feeding Alliance. In a full team fight where 5 on Na'Vi run to 5 on Alliance. We expect Na'Vi to have a slight favor there. When Alliance are able to just rely on these cooldowns almost exclusively to get these kills, Na'Vi don't stand a chance. All about those pickoffs, and now it's all about Roche. Assume both sides know about it. A hook shot off the mark from General. It's level 2 hook shot though, so the cooldown is bearable when you're playing Clockwork. See Roche, double damage on Dendi is running out actually, so it's not there anymore. Pycat wants in though. Tries best to tear down Roche, or Alliance can make any sort of move, and Alliance did scout this out. Chaotic offering on the Warlock, such close quarters. The fact that their one entrance point is, gonna be sharded and cogged. So much terrain manipulation from Na'Vi in these close quarters. We'll get them a free double life. Once again for Dendi. I think that's Roche 2. Next one will be Cheese.
And it's up.
Stupendous.
Now we'll see what Na'Vi can do to get control of these lanes. Somehow able to pick off an Ember. Hey, look, a Lotus Orb. That will be the doors wide open. Split push really the only thing that's in Alliance in. No, even when they were sieging this bottom lane, the IO was in the defense. He was not like pushing out this other wave with someone else and with the relocate. Looking for the efficiency plays. So at least last time, that play from Alliance was a little bit cautious. See Alliance immediately jumping into action, setting up for kills over in the bottom lane with that classic combo of Legion Commander and Skywrath Mage. Top lane being pushed out as well. Limp now knowing that it is very, very difficult to kill him off. Being able to clean himself of that soul burn? Oh baby, it's soul burn. Am I good or am I good? Lions going to try to keep themselves as safe as possible. While the regen rune and an arcane rune on Dendi, I'm not really sure how feasible that is. Initiation range is pretty high on this hero. They're looking to group up and set a trap for Limp. Not gonna happen. Still, Jonas and Van Hanskin are doing a whole lot of nothing on this bottom lane. Patience, man. Patience. Eventually, someone might come towards this bottom lane. Unless those flares shot earlier scouted up the Skywrath Mage, which was possible. It seemed like it was right on the edge.
Incoming.
Start shoving in top lane now. PyCat has his fresh BKB. Be a big item to have, but you know, despite that BKB, still damage from Alliance, physical right clicks just from this Legion Commander, and from the Phantom Assassin, and from this Blade Mail as well. BKB a nice item to have, but Sunders have not really been easy for PyCat to cast in this game. Seems like he's always been like dropped kind of low. Right at the time when you think about Sundering, you get triple jumped by the Ember Spirit and lose all your HP. This is a game of whack-a-mole here for Na'Vi. Usually when you have hammers of Storm Spirit and Clockwork, pretty easy to find those split-pushing heroes, but Alliance have been doing a really good job thus far. Just keeping these waves, at least as best they can, pushed out. Keep Na'Vi away from their base. Aegis is going to still have a little bit of duration here, but Na'Vi making very little progress. Although we'll finally get General pushing the bottom lane. Top lane being shoved in by those illusions. Dendi is going to dodge the dual attempts, going to jump in towards the Skywrath Mage, and now Loda and EGM both going to chase after the Storm Spirit. He's going to see everyone and get out of there. Limp in the meantime finds Biver though. Not quite what Na'Vi were looking for. Alliance instantly coming in with absolutely everyone. They're going to jump in shards to wall off the hill. At least try to, as they try to go for Jonas and Fan instead. But Storm Spirit, he overcommitted. General's going to finally arrive with PyCat, but already 3 heroes are down. Dendi's going to respawn soon, but he is not in this fight right now, and that's what matters. They're going to try to look for Limp, who actually doesn't have any more tools left, and he will go down. It's a 2 for 2 with that Aegis. PyCat still very healthy. The lanes are kind of in a decent position over in mid to push. An Alliance with just a couple of supports and PA don't really have much game up against these remaining Na'Vi heroes, so this will be a chance for them to put a little bit of chip damage into these structures. Push in mid, slide on bottom. Force out of fortification first. Storm Spirit and Clockwork means that Alliance have got to be sweating their positioning right now. PyCat will take a little bit of spam here. Soul Burn goes off towards that Skywrath Mage, gets Glimmer, but Dendi has the gem. Jumping from Loda is going to try to save his friendly Skywrath, but that was just a space creation tactic there by Dendi. Distracting everyone from Alliance, from PyCat. Let PyCat do his job versus what matters, those objectives. Rax will fall, and of course that means the shrines are open. Don't force any buybacks or anything like that. It's still a win for Na'Vi. Not really an absolutely massive one. The Alliance still with the split push getting a ton of experience. That melee Rax definitely is quite nice. Taking out the shrines means that that third and crucial cheese Roshan even easier for Na'Vi to guarantee to themselves. You have 3 Lotus Orbs coming. 1 on Clock, 1 on Storm. Obviously the one on the Ember Spirit I mentioned earlier. Okay. Lotus Orbs and Solar Crests, guys. This is the game we're playing. This is the day and age we're living. With Solar Crest, we're getting quite a bit of farm on EGM. 2-8 and 16. Wouldn't really expect this much, that much farm from a hero who's 2-8 and 16. I guess 16 is quite a bit, but deaths, man, feels bad.
And it's off.
But like general, kind of wants the team to consider going for Limp. Dendy, well, his remnants are gonna be popped by Loda, and he does have a gem, so Loda's now trapped. Where's the help? Loda's gonna BKB, and he's gonna try to turn around. Snowball is there to buy Sneeko a little bit of time. He will eventually jump out of there, but that's BKB forced out on the Phantom Assassin. That means that the doors are wide open for Navi to make a fight. As they jump in towards Hanskin, there's no cogs though. He's just gonna get shredded by the flare, making it even exchange so far. The Golem does absolutely nothing, although Sneeko's looking for a little bit more. Jumps forward. That was chains used for nothing. Dendy's now going to jump forward. He's going to find an IO isolated, although he is going to get some help from Jonas and Fan. He's glimmered and everything. That still is not going to do that much against the gem from Dendy. Snowball right clicks. It's delayed and glitched out as all hell, but it's still a kill. Navi make another 2-for-1 exchange. Metamorphosis, though, running low on duration. That Navi can't really make any play afterwards. That was an absolute mess. I'm not really sure what Loda was trying to accomplish there. I mean, maybe he just thought the Storm Spirit wasn't there anymore, but Storm Spirit has a gem, and he has had a gem for the past 5 at least minutes. Trying to lean on invisibility like that is ruined. Not really what you want to be doing. Pycat separated from his allies. Lincoln Sphere popped by one of those trash bells. BKB forced out really early, now dueled up, and he's going to take so much damage here. Wall's Punch going to give him a little bit of help, and the duel is going to fizzle, but Pycat, oh, will get the Sunder off onto Limp, forcing him to jump out, and now standing strong on the Lotus, going to start critting into this Terrorblade. Not dead just yet. Denny's going to arrive. Won't be able to save his Terrorblade, but he's going to clean up everyone in the back end. It's a triple kill as Terrorblade, just as a red herring, the tank, to absorb all of Alliance's focus, meant that no one was actually focusing on Dendy. And you gotta worry about the Storm Spirit. He just picked off absolutely everyone in the back lines and is looking for one more. Speaking of picking off the back lines, Legion Commander looking to get in with the help, but gets flattened by Snowball a little bit too late there. Although Limp's going to arrive, TP out. That's not gonna happen, I don't think. Oh, it will happen! Solar Crest evasion gets 2 procs at the end. Sneeko is playing well, but he's also teensy weeny bit lucky. Jeez, that was some luck. But all the focus onto the Terrorblade. They had to grind through him twice. With BKB, with that full HP from the Sunder. And he is fairly durable at this stage. Obviously, that's not really what Navi ideally would like their fights to look like. But Pycat being caught out in the middle of no man's land with backup a little bit far away made the best out of a really good situation, because that fight, unlike all the previous ones, had a Sunder cast in it. That turns out is a pretty good spell. And now Navi just looking to set up for Roche. They know that they should be pretty far ahead after that last fight. Killing off Roche, getting Aegis Cheese, will open the door for another high ground play, most likely towards top. Not really sure if Alliance can contest. Roshan is going to be pretty well timed here with Navi's ultimate cooldown on the Warlock. Although, Sneeko is going to get jumped. Ember Spear taking a lot of damage. He will cleanse it all off with that Echo Shell. They'll try to disengage, although this is a really good spot for Alliance to be in positional-wise. The Rock is going to drop onto Loda. The right push from Pycat can hit pretty hard with MKB, but they slaughter Pivot in the back end. General kind of whipped his cogs there. Dendy going to jump in, looking towards Loda a little bit more, gets the pull back, and will get the kill. Off to the north is General, chasing after Hanskin. Lands a silence onto Dendy, but he can't really do anything about that. He cleans himself off of that silence, and Dendy will get another one. Now chasing after a little bit more. Spirit Aspects, Civil War here. Limp will jump out. Will be just fine. Pycat Metamorphosis used, and Roshan, hey, look at that, conveniently respawning for Navi. Takedown 2. Another gem here. I don't know if Navi are even interested in... Wait, was that Dendy's gem? Dendy didn't die before, he just... Okay, yeah, they know about it. They'll tear down Roshan, get the Aegis, get the cheese. See what it's gonna be. Aegis for Storm, Cheese for General right now. Ooh, interesting. Diffusal Blade from Clockwork. Now that is some tech right there. A little bit of agility. Obviously the reason why he's buying the item. No, it's because there's so many spells to get rid of. Dispellable? Yes, on the Flame Guard. You can get rid of the press the attack, heal. Anything else? Pretty sure you can just get rid of all this stuff as well. There's actually quite a bit of value to be had for this Diffusal Blade, and obviously it just gives you purge charges for chasing. Very interesting item pickup here. It's actually pretty sweet. Is it better than another Solar Crest though? That I'm not convinced of. Get Pycat in a duel, slap a Solar Crest Shine on him? Not dying. At least not to physical damage. Pycat. 7 slotted. That feeling when you can't afford to have Eye of Scotty in your real inventory. The plan is obviously, you know, backpack with the BKB swap. But you know, I mean, what, 7,000, 7,200, something like that worth of gold. Gonna swap out his treads instead. Gotta send in those illusions. And now Alliance, they're in a really awkward spot. Not because all the lanes are pushing, because EGM is not countering this. Limp will try to counter this bottom lane, and he can go push this lane really far. Io just can't go for these split push plays. There is a Clockwork on the other side. There's a Storm Speed on the other side. If you try, you put yourself at so much risk. Excuse me. Cat Lincoln Sphere, popped, shards, everything is flying about. But ultimately, this tower still taking a little bit of damage here. Alliance will lose it. Not much of a response from them. Echo Shell on the illusion of Terrorblade. Sure. Well, jump in from Limp into the backlines, chains 2 of them up, and is able to effectively dodge. Oh, the Echo Shell perfected the snowball, actually. That's really inconvenient for Limp. And now the rock drops onto Loda in the back end, though. It's Pycat and Dendy driving everyone else away. They separate Loda, and they're able to catch up to him and essentially pick him off. That Lotus was so bad for Limp. He just didn't seem to realize that snowball was what happened there, and he was kind of just stuck there, not right-clicking, not doing any damage. Now the jump back in, looking towards the IO. Once again, Glimmercake gonna buy him a little bit of space. Duel with the flare is gonna kill off Denny, but that's only his first life. It's still dual damage for Pycat, or for Jonas Fan rather. Pycat does not have his Metamorphosis, so he's gonna have to wander into melee up against Limp. Is gonna get the chainsaw on help. Snowball again from Limp, got that reflected. The snowball is gonna be back. That's a visual bug, I think. Like, there's no one in that snowball. Although the Cog's gonna shove Jonas back. He did not expect that, nor did I. Cog's perfect. Now the hook shot back in towards Limp as everyone's gonna swarm this Ember Spear, try to take him down. The heals from EGM and the relocate, not enough, as they take him down just a millisecond before the relocate sticks with no buyback. Navi will finally claim victory. It was not exactly a clean one. A little bit of whack-a-mole game for them that was a little bit hard to catch up to, but oh man. I did not expect that last fight to come down to Echo Shell Snowball destroying Limp. I don't think I've actually ever seen